So now let's get started with the coding.
All right.
So as we already just discussed in our welcome screen, this is where we're actually going to first check to see if a user's already has access inside the UI. So to do so, let's get started by importing, import Pocket Swift. And then we're actually going to create a wallet in our PocketAion variables.
So this is where you're going to be checking to see if they already have a wallet. And if they do, then load the screen that they'll use to basically get their wallet, and the other one will create the wallet if they don't.
Correct.
Got
So when this welcome screen first blew up after we already declared our wallet and PocketAion variables, we actually want to initiate a PocketAion instance. So to do so, we're going to call PocketAion that we're going to create. We're going to call the class, and it's going to initialize the whole entire instance for us. Now, as you can tell, it takes in two variables, the developer ID and the net IDs.
Okay.
And the developer ID is what's already been stored inside this file. So we're just going to call that for security's sake. And the net IDs it's a sub network of that of the ION blockchain. So for ION, they have the mainnet and mastery. Mastery is 32. The mainnet, I believe, is 256. And so what we did was we just called the PocketAion.networks mastery, and we're going to just only get out the raw value, which is 32.
Got it. And mastery is their test net, right? So that's where so like this network is not the production or live. This is for testing and development.
Yes. And so now that we've actually initialized PocketAion, we're actually going to create a key variable, which actually uses a get wallet records key function. Now, what's unique about this is it actually checks to see if there's already a stored private key in the passphrase inside the encrypted keychain.
So you're here just if there's already a key saved in the keychain, you're just checking to see if there's an account there, and then pulling the address out of that key. I see. Okay, and then so now we're going to retrieve the wallet, I'm guessing, based on your to-do comment.
Yeah. So what we're going to do after we've created the key variable is just check this, make sure that we already have the keys. Now, once it checks it, we're actually going to retrieve it, assuming that they do.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is actually call a wallet variable that we called earlier, and we're going to use the retrieve wallet function, which takes in 4 variables: network, net ID, address, and the passphrase that's already been stored.
Yeah. So this stuff. So all this boilerplate code, or it's not boilerplate, isn't the right word, but this is all code that it was done. That is now using the SDK, right?
Yes.
Got it.
So yeah, that's actually why you're seeing a lot of it, because it already assumes that we already have this imported, so it's going to keep throwing the red flags.
Okay.
But all we generally just want to do is to make sure that if there's a wallet, we can retrieve it by calling the retrieve wallet function.
Got it.
And all these alerts do is just make sure that there is one, and if there is, enter in your passphrase, and then checks that passphrase and make sure that it's correct before it transitions you to the message view controller.
Gotcha.
That we use. Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
So now that that's done, we can actually get down to importing our wallet. So we're going to follow generally the same process of importing our wallet. So to do so, we're going to actually import, again, Pocket Swift.
Okay.
If I can type correctly. Then next, now that we just imported our Pocket Swift, what we're going to do next is actually redeclare our wallets and PocketAion variables.
All right.
Pretty standard. Now, as you can see right here, we actually created a save wallet. So assuming that the person hits the save button, import wallet button,
okay,
is going to request a passphrase that we've already called back in the view control extensions file. Now that we've done that, we're going to take the passphrase, and we're going to make sure that it's saved by encrypting it. And if not saved, it's going to actually hit back with a error, assuming that something went wrong.
Okay.
And so that's all the save function is doing for us, actually encrypting it. And if something went wrong, returning back an error message. Now that we just went over some of the save functionalities, now we actually want to grab the key that was inside the UI field by not only one, saving it, which we already just did or showed you in the save function, but we want to utilize the PocketAion. We want to utilize the PocketAion import wallet feature, which takes the private key and checks to make sure that it's correct. To do so, we're going to recall the wallet variable that we've already created, and we're going to actually import the data from the text view as a text inside of it. So once someone executes it, it checks it on the back end and then returns the results, which is entering your passphrase to save your private key. So now that that's done, we can actually go into creating a wallet, assuming that the user doesn't have a wallet and this is his or her first time doing it. All right, so after we just imported Pocket Swift, we're going to declare our wallet and PocketAion variables. So unlike what we just did in the import wallet file that we already just came out of, we're actually going to have to initialize the PocketAion instance again. Put it in our do catch. So just in case it can initialize, it will actually return the error just for good practice. So again, same thing we did in the welcome screen, enter in our developer ID as well as define our mastery and main networks to initialize it. Next, we're going to have to call the create wallet class, which is this. So all this is doing is calling the PocketAion variable, instance, and then specifying, all right, what type of wallet do I want to create for which network, which is mastery, and it will create the wallet inside the function. Now, what's actually good, function but class. Now, what's actually useful with this class is there's actually two functions, or it does two things. It actually can return the address if you only want to return the address, or can also return the private key if you only want to return the private key. Now, to do so, I will show you, so we're going to call wallets. Address, which if you only want the address, we'll do that. We're going to do the same thing for private key, which is only display the private key. And just like that, that's how you can just single-handedly show the user whatever he or she should / want to see. Down here, as you can already see, we have different UI controllers. So if it fails to create, it's going to kick back an error. And if assuming that they don't like their private key, not private key, but their wallet for any particular reason, they can actually recreate one, which will wipe out the fields and go from there. Now, once the user has created it and they want to go to the message controller, it requests a passphrase, which again, lets the user enter in their passphrase and saves it into their keychain, encrypts it into their keychain so it can be safely stored and secured.
Got it.
Yep. So now the fun part. And this
is the main event, right?
Yep. So here's the fun part. This is where we're actually going to read and write to the smart contract. So
exciting.
Now, before I get too much into it, I'm just going to give you a brief overlay of what's actually going on.
Okay.
So kit, you actually have to define a lot of other delegates, which is message view controller, message data source, layout delegate, and display delegate. Now, for the most part, we're actually going to store our messages as a list, as well as current user. This actually formats our text message so they can display properly. And all this is just basic message kit stuff, which we're not even going to go into.
Yeah, but we're providing all this code also, so it'll all be on GitHub. So yeah, so you won't have to type all this stuff from scratch.